Happy Friday to you. I'm Jen Yates, the generator. You're locked on to Jyneration Nation, LRS102.com, the Walrus. We are Louisville's rock stream. And I am so pumped. It is Friday, as always, because I have Carly Johnson up in my studios. How are you doing, Carly?
Oh, hey.
Hey, girl.
I'm
hey.
so
ding, ding, ding.
fucking good.
Yay. I love that you're fucking good.
I'm
Yay.
so fucking excited to get to say fuck.
It's the magic word of the day. It's the F word. My second favorite. My first favorite F word. My second favorite F word is Friday.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
So, Carly, I'm so pumped because you said you would come into the show and talk to me.
I'm so excited, too.
Yeah.
We're going to have a blast.
I know. And you have your own radio show, so we share this in common.
I do. And it was quite the day today. I had all the technical issues.
Oh, man.
It was
Those
really
days
fun.
happen, yeah. When that eclipse was coming through,
Yeah.
I came in and our board fried, and I was like, I don't know what's going on there. We couldn't even do the show. It was so crazy in
my
here.
God.
And I was like, makes sense. Electronics go down.
Wild.
Yeah.
It had me guessing. I was like, is it Mercury in retrograde today? But I'm pretty sure we just got through that a little bit ago.
We did.
So,
I'm trying to think. It's Mercury retrograde. We're actually entering we're like halfway through to a full moon right now.
Okay.
And you know what I do? I'm a geek. I do not own a television. I only listen to, podcasts and write music and do electronics and audio things.
But
so,
you need to just watch TV so you can watch The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, I don't know anything about The Handmaid's Tale.
Honey, you got to. It's very scary.
Is it?
But it's about like a totalitarian, society with well, you don't watch Mad Men too, so I can't.
No,
even give
I
you
don't watch
references.
anything.
Okay, well,
I know everybody's like, what? You're an alien.
women have no power, and
Yeah.
it's about getting that power back. It's awesome.
Oh, Lord.
But it's intense.
Yeah,
It's
I was going to
intense,
say.
yeah. It's
But
a lot.
what I do is listen to a podcast weekly by this lady named Ann Orderly, and she is an astrology professor at NYU, and she puts out a weekly podcast on what's coming up. So I listen like every Sunday or every Monday. I lay in bed and listen to her podcast, and she tells you what's going on in the stars, which I love that stuff.
I need to get hooked up.
Yes,
with that.
I'll hook you up with that.
Okay.
It's called Weekly Weather and Orderly. And if you're on Twitter, which I don't know if you've got all the
I do.
Okay, good.
I don't use Twitter a lot, but I'm trying.
Yeah. Twitter, you know what? I discovered Twitter almost first. So I really love Twitter because for different reasons. I like different social media platforms for different reasons.
And I think that's smart because I think a lot of people do use that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Facebook is cool, but I maxed out my friends like 5 years ago. So then they're like, now you've got to make this separate page.
Right.
Which I don't want to deal with a separate page. You know all about this. You have to have a separate artist page, right?
Yeah.
So I did that. And then, but then I have to keep up with it. It's more to keep up with.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and then you got the Instagram and the Snapchat and the YouTube.
I think most of my focus is probably on Instagram.
Yeah, I love Instagram.
But you got to keep the F book going because there's lots of folk on there too.
Yeah, and I have to credit. A lot of people hate social media, but I actually quite love social media. I've always been kind of a communicative person.
Right.
I always was in the radio, television field, stuff like that. And as an artist, you know this, you have to keep yourself out there and seen.
Oh, yeah.
And nowadays, if you go to book, they're like, well, let's see your internet. They want to see your package online.
Right.
And they want to see, how many people you can draw, how many people are hits or, likes do you have on this or whatever. It's crazy.
It's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game today, which is crazy because you can actually buy Instagram followers. you
Can
know what I'm
you
saying?
really?
Oh, yeah. You
What?
Can, I mean, I've never done it, but I know people.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, in fact,
But they're
I
all
saw.
like fake people, aren't they? Like
They're fake people. They're not real people. They're like
That's so
bots
weird.
that just gives you the numbers. Yeah. I was on
don't
a
like
date
that.
with this girl, and her son taught me that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he goes, watch this. And he had me do something on my phone and like some account. And then he goes, go back and watch your numbers. And literally it would be like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, so it's a thing. And Juliet Lewis just tweeted yesterday that you're a clown if you buy Instagram followers. Which I love. Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm really feeling these
the sound effects. Yeah, when you tell a joke, I've got a good one. I've got the drum rim shot. Tell a joke. You got a joke?
Oh
handy?
God, no.
Okay.
Oh man, nope.
So what about this? What does a gay horse say?
Hey. very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you already
of course,
knew that
the
one.
first joke that I thought of was a very nerdy jazz joke that nobody would understand.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So I'm not
yeah.
going to tell that.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about your career because I want to educate people on everything Carly Joe Johnson. Did you drop the Joe?
Oh, no, actually, all right, here's the deal with
Okay.
that. It's actually just Carly Johnson.
Okay.
The Joe, well, I'm not going to say the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because that's my personal
Correct. We don't want
page.
people knowing
So,
that.
like,
Okay.
I did that to trip up. I just started getting all these friend requests from people that would hear me one time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to talk about my nephew to people that I don't really know.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
So I've tried to have a personal account on Facebook, and then I did my music page. So
Right.
in order to kind of throw off the scent, because I wanted people to find my music page, they
Yeah.
kept being directed to my personal first.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot.
Yeah, that confused me too.
Yeah. So there is no Joe. It's
Okay,
not
cool.
my name.
Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't for sure because I was like, I don't know if that's part of her name or not. But
I just had
Carly
to make it up.
Johnson, Joe being the Johnson, the
Yes,
Joe,
yes.
J-O,
Like C. Joe,
yeah,
J-Lo.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the C.
Yeah,
Joe. I'd be the J. A. You know what I mean?
Yes, I love
the J. A. Yeah,
I love
J. Y. A. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Oh
Yes.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your music.
Yeah.
Because that's what I like to do. When they gave me the show on LRS, I was like, I'm going to use my platform to talk to every musician I know.
Yay.
And I want to hear their stories. How did they get their start? So let's start right away with what drew you immediately to music. Were you born in a music family?
I mean, my family was slightly musical. I wouldn't say like crazy, but for some reason, me and my brother just were completely obsessed with it immediately
Yeah.
at a very young age. And my obsession, believe it or not, actually started when I was probably 4, and I had like a Fisher Price vinyl record player, and
Nice.
I would listen to the Sleeping Beauty soundtrack on it.
I love it.
So, like,
Yeah.
my first exposure to a singer was an opera singer. It was Mary Costa who played Sleeping Beauty's voice, and I just loved it, freaked
Yeah.
out. And from there, I graduated to other Disney movies like The Little Mermaid.
Perfect.
And then I made a huge leap to Aerosmith.
Okay, perfect.
When I was
I love
8,
that.
yeah.
Well, we love Aerosmith.
So
We'll spin some later.
Yes,
So,
my
yeah.
first concert ever was the Get a Grip tour. I was 8 years old, and it was
yeah.
in Vegas because my dad is actually a radio guy in
Right.
Vegas.
Cool.
So I grew up with radio my whole life.
Yeah.
And he took me to that, and it was awesome. It
Awesome.
blew my mind.
Well, we have that in
Yeah.
common. I started in radio when I was 16 years old
Awesome.
because I like to say because of Dolly Parton.
Oh, that's a good
You got a
reason.
second to hear my story?
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
You'll just appreciate this because you're a radio
Yeah.
girl.
Well, I just finished my last show out with a Dolly Parton tune. So.
Oh, cool. So it's perfect
Yeah.
timing. Yeah. You can never go wrong with Dolly Parton.
No.
Yeah. In fact, we could probably even spin some more rockin' Dolly Parton because I love her Don't the Dude track, which was on her Rainbow record, which nobody
Oh.
has. I have all
Yeah, I
these
don't
like
know that.
vintage Dolly records and
Nice.
I've collected Dolly Parton memorabilia for a long time. So I actually have a stand up of her. That I've had since I was 13 in every band room that I've ever played in.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and just her standing there, you just can't go wrong with her. But anyway, long story short, when I was a kid, I grew up in a very small town. We had one radio station, and it was classic gold country. And so for some reason, I was always obsessed with Dolly Parton. So
Oh,
I would
many
call,
reasons.
Right. Yes. So I would call the radio station and request Dolly all the time as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then skip to, I got to be known as like the kid who called in all the time, asking for Dolly Parton. And they would always play it for me, and I'd always be excited. At age 16, I was in high school, and I was always a chatty Cathy. And I was talking to this lady who was in there, and she said, "Do you have a job yet?" And I was like, "No." And she said, "Come and see me when you're 16. I'm going to give you a job." She goes, "I own the local radio station, and I love your voice," is what she said. And I said, "Really?" So I went in, and she gave me a 7 to midnight radio show.
Yes.
That I ran in classical radio from 16 until 21.
Oh my God.
In 21, I left. And by the way, right after that, I ended up going to Camelsville, Kentucky, which I ran Greg Martin, the lead guitarist of the Headhunters radio show,
Yeah.
the Lowdown Hoedown.
Yeah.
It, jumped into television, got picked up by Warner Brothers affiliate. That brought me to Louisville, where I worked as an on-air director, running like Buffy, Dawson's Creek, and all those
Okay.
great shows back in the day. I moved here in 99 and then did radio, jumped back into LRS, was working there when they went under. They threw me on B96.5 where I studied under Russ Parr
Okay.
and ran his morning show, and they flew me to Baltimore, and I got to meet Russ Parr. It was really cool stuff.
That's so cool.
And then I took a job in my 30s, well, my late 20s, working in political news.
Okay.
So after I did that, I hated that. And so I left and to pursue my love of music, which
Cool.
I've done for the past 12 years.
That's awesome.
Came in here to be interviewed about my Hillbilly Swagger project with Beverly McClellan, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys were like, dude, we hired you on the board. LRS is back, and we've got a 2 to 4 radio show Monday through Friday if you'd like to have it. And I was like, cool.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So I credit my radio career to Dolly Parton because
Man.
they remembered me, when I was talking to the lady who hired me.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
meet her.
I know, and get this. I was in marching band with Porter Wagner's grandchildren.
Okay.
Porter Wagner discovered Dolly on the
Oh, I
Porter
didn't know
Wagner
that.
show.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
she
it.
wrote "I Will Always Love You" for Porter Wagner.
Oh, my
about
God.
him.
What?
And then his daughter and I worked
What?
his daughter and I worked in radio together too. So I have all these weird connections with
Man.
Porter Wagner, Dolly Parton. I don't know if you know that story. Do you watch Drunk History? Because I have seen one episode
No,
of Drunk History,
no.
and it was the Dolly one. Porter Wagner basically had a huge show in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
He had Dolly on a show from the time she was really young. That's how she got discovered and got to be, her career started.
Okay.
She wrote all these songs. They were a duo for a long time. She wanted to go solo.
Mm-hmm.
He was very mad at her for doing that. So he kind of banned her and did all this crappy stuff to her.
Mm-hmm.
She left and wrote "I Will Always Love You" about him. Okay.
Wow.
So on he goes broke. Right? And he also has a huge country music career, a lot of old stuff, Porter Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of older folks will remember the Porter Wagner show.
Mm-hmm.
And he loses his catalog, his singing catalog. Dolly buys it. And I forget what she paid for it, but it was a lot. And then on his deathbed, he asked if he could buy it back, and she gave it back to him
Oh
for
my
free.
God.
That's how awesome Dolly Parton
Wow.
is. Yeah. So if you didn't know any of that,
I didn't. And
I can educate you on Dolly all day.
Well, it's funny that you brought up "I Will Always Love You" because that was a pivotal moment in my life of knowing that I wanted to be a singer.
Really?
So I went from Aerosmith to being obsessed with the Beatles, and
Awesome.
but my first love as a singer, other than the early Sleeping Beauty days of
Right.
classical music, was by far Whitney Houston, and it was the Bodyguard soundtrack.
Of course. I remember where I was when
Yeah.
I went to see that in
Oh
the
my
theaters.
God.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I was, but I just remember being at my dad's house in Vegas and turning it all the way up and just singing to every single song as loud as I could. And everybody was at work, so I had the house to myself, and I had really bad stage fright for a very long time. So it was
Really?
my only time to
Yeah.
get to kind of let it out and sing.
That
and
is crazy.
I got
So-
to sing that song for the first time last year for the Louisville Leopards thing.
Oh,
Because
cool.
it was a celebration of 1993, and that was number one.
Oh,
And I was
really?
like, yes, I will sing that song.
Yeah.
My whole life
so
has been
super
leading
cool.
to this moment.
Man, so you can hit those Whitney Houston whoa. I mean, she's up there.
She is up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do my best. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's wild. Everybody that I've ever covered a Whitney with is man, you've got to be on your game to cover Whitney. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
No, it's not.
Cheyenne Mize hired me for this Queens of Drags thing that I did with Ray Rizzo and a bunch of awesome, cool people around town, and we had to do I Want to Dance with Somebody.
I was there.
Was you there?
I did an Etta James tune. I was in the
cool.
Queens of Soul.
Yeah, you were Queens of Soul. Okay,
Yeah.
so we were Queens of Drag and Queens of Pop.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Also, I have I'm 1 degree away from Whitney too, in a weird way.
What?
I was the house drummer of Michigan Women's Music Festival for several years, where I got to network and meet people like Beverly McClellan, who I wanted to do a bunch of record stuff with, and in my band, in the house band, was a lady named Vicki Randall. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but Vicki Randall is historic in the female drumming community. She was the first female drummer on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. She played conga, and she went on to tour with Quincy Jones, Aretha Franklin. She's on the background tracks of most of Whitney Houston stuff.
Oh
So that
my
early stuff, what's that first one? Not I Want to Dance with Somebody, but How Will I Know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
How Will I Know? That's Vicki Randall in the background.
Oh my God.
And if you listen to Aretha Franklin's Who's Zooming Who, she's all over that record. So
Oh
Pink
my
Cadillac,
God.
she's
Wow.
on. And then she was just touring as Mavis Staples' background singer.
Wow.
So She plays like every instrument and sings amazing. I mean, she toured with Quincy Jones even. So
That's the best.
Yeah, Lionel Richie on
That's
the
amazing.
Dancing on the Ceiling tour. Yeah, I mean, look her up. She's a badass.
Okay, cool.
She was my percussion player. I was her drum set
That's
player.
ridiculous.
Right?
Yeah,
So
that's
I
amazing.
consider myself 1 degree away from Whitney
yeah,
Houston.
I'd
right?
take it.
I mean,
Yeah.
So you end up doing the singing stuff, and I want to know how that leads to you being involved in jazz projects, because you're really known for jazz stuff around town.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is, like I said, I had really bad stage fright for forever, and so I kind of
Which
hid.
shocks me.
Really?
Yeah, it does. It does.
I was terrified. I still get stage fright.
But radio doesn't bother you.
No.
Is it because nobody's sitting in the room or nobody's like watching you?
No,
or?
because it's just singing and speaking are just totally different things. Yeah, because I'm a pretty communicative person anyway. It's just like when you're singing, it's just so vulnerable, and
I could see that.
And I'm so like meticulous, and it's just like I don't want to screw it up. it's just very like I was to the point in high school when I finally got a vocal teacher that I made her, or actually I turned around.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't look at her when I sang.
Wow.
And that's like a teacher, like teaching you.
That's very, you know who else did that?
Who?
Is Jim Morrison of The Doors. He used to sing with his back to the crowd. He was that frightened. If you watch
terrifying.
The Doors video, he's always singing. The whole band is facing the crowd, and he's got his back, and he sings the whole shows that way.
Well,
when
and
he first started.
I know Barbara Streisand, like, I don't know if she's still like this, but for a long time she would like vomit before going on because she had such bad.
I hear
stage fright.
Adele does that too.
Does she?
Yeah.
Ugh,
you know, she just
really
announced
scary.
yesterday she's got her new record coming out.
I bet she does.
It's called 31.
Shocker.
And guess what? Everybody was like, oh, she hooked up and had a kid and got married and it's all going to be happy. No, they broke up and it's a bunch of breakup songs again. So she's like the queen of the breakup songs. Like you know what I'm saying?
Well, she better not stay like with a happy person so that we can keep getting music.
We'll talk about this because I love to talk about artistry and writing your own stuff, because that's always my favorite part of music is to create my own stuff.
Same.
Yeah. And Adele, I feel like if you're a great artist, you have to almost be tormented in your personal life in some way, because if not, there's nothing to write about. Because if you're in your comfort zone all the time, you're not growing, you're not
Right.
You've got to almost be, I feel like,
or at
tormented,
least terribly self-conscious.
Exactly. Something. There's got to be something that is really emotional, detrimental. You know what I mean? For us to write songs, and for Adele to write these powerful, like ballady, like heart-wrenching breakup songs. Yeah. You've got to go through something, because if it's not real in emotion, I feel like it's fake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just produced music.
Yeah.
So, and I love produced music, don't get me wrong. I love some cheesy cheese and pop, and I love me some Britney Spears and all that.
Too.
I mean, I have tons of guilty pleasures across the board.
Don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
You can like everything.
I won't. Ding, ding. I want to like everything. Yeah, I do literally love everything when it comes to music.
Yeah.
There's really, even if they're dropping the F-bomb when I was a kid, if they had the parental advisory lyrics, I mean, that was the reason I bought records was because of that.
Right.
So I love to drop some dirties here and there in my stuff. And I'm very heavily influenced by the hip hop, punk rock and roll, chick angst 90s, new wave electronics, along with some Kraftwerk and weird Giorgio Moroder and all that weird stuff, who produced Donna Summer, into hip hop and rap. So if you could clash all those together, I feel like I'm right there in that range of music production that I do with my original stuff.
Cool.
So anyway, but let's get back to you. I do feel like, though, Adele, she's an interesting character, and you wouldn't expect her to be like very self-conscious to go on stage, or Barbara Streisand, same way. You wouldn't expect her. Her vocals are so amazing.
Yeah.
So it's just fascinating to me that people get, the jitters sometimes, and I get them sometimes too, but it's always the weirdest gigs. It's always like some random bar gig, and, I'll be on stage in front of 20,000 and be okay. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think when you're in a smaller venue, you can see people's faces
It's
easier.
more intimate.
It's a lot more intimate, So
I could see that.
Yeah. So I basically hid behind the saxophone for a long time. I was in band because I was too scared to join choir, and I finally got over it by high school, and I joined choir, and I was like, all right, I know that I want to do this for a living.
What instrument and band? I'm just curious.
Oh, I played alto sax.
Oh, I love that.
And I played tenor and bari.
I love that.
Yeah,
I've played a little bari sax in my day because I was a woodwind player.
Oh, cool.
A bass clarinet, and the fingerings are very same in certain
totally.
octaves.
Oh, yeah.
And my sister was a sax player. My aunt also a sax player. So I got a few
Cool.
sax players in my fam.
Awesome.
Yeah, go ahead, though.
And I think that was really good for learning breath control too. So it's like I felt
bet.
like I was kind of already training myself in some way for singing.
Yeah, so
But-
yay woodwinds.
Yay, woodwinds! So finally, I joined choir in high school, and I had a really great teacher, thankfully, and he made me audition for solos. And
Awesome.
I was pissed because I didn't want to do it. And he was like, he would hold auditions in front of the whole class, and he would like say, "All right, everyone that wants to solo, raise your hand." Shout out to Mr. Lynn, by the way, from Atherton. Love him. And he would make me stand up and
Love it.
and do it, and I hated him for it, but it was good. I'm glad that I did. He made me do the pep rally, sing the national anthem,
Cool.
and just like Jim Morrison, I had to face the wall and not look at any of the crowd and do all
my
that shit.
gosh, I love
was,
that.
Yeah, it was bad. So my decision was, if I'm going to get over this and actually do this for a living, I have to go to college for it, because if I'm going to college for singing, I have to sing.
Yeah, of
or like
course.
I can't be there.
I love that you're like, I'm going to go to college and sing, even though I'm terrified to look at people and sing.
Because I knew that's all I
Right.
cared about and wanted to do.
Yeah, I
so
get it.
I went to college in Philadelphia, and that was one of those things where I guess what really happened as far as getting into jazz is I did some talent shows in high school, and which brought me onto Heart. I had never heard of Heart before, and we did Crazy on You.
Yeah.
And then I did some Etta James stuff, which, you know, she's old school R&B. She had a
Yeah.
couple jazz things going on, but she's not really known for jazz.
By the way,
Yes.
my Beverly McClellan, that was her favorite singer, and
Mine
we
too.
covered a lot of "I'd Rather Go Blind." I mean,
I did that too, yeah.
So Etta James, shout out, yeah, we love her. By the way, just and because we've got 2 hours, did you know? Literally, when I did the She Castle thing, we had Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton and Etta James, "I'd Rather Go Blind," are both on the list, and they're the exact same song.
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah. Yeah. How has that not been sued? Or like there must be some kind of
mean, you
agreement there.
You can't really sue over 2 chords.
Right. I
mean,
know.
that's
I
all
know.
it
Well, I
is.
kind of, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was like,
So-
literally, when you think about it in Western music, there are 12 notes that make up everything we hear.
Yeah.
From the most amazing orchestra, you know, musical, Sondheim, whatever,
Yeah.
to just the cheesiest pop song.
Yep.
You know? It's nuts, isn't it?
It is nuts.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like most everything been done. So therefore, you got
Yeah.
to change it up with the, you know, now that's why I feel like electronic is so in the forefront, because those dubstep sounds and some of those trap beats and stuff like that are things that we've never heard before as humans.
But at the same time, I'm starting to feel like if you've heard one,
Oh, you have. I mean, it
you've
is.
heard
It's
them
the
all. Like,
yes,
it's
you
just,
have.
It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure everybody was freaking out about like the same thing when I was in high school and bopping along to Britney Spears and thought it was so awesome
Right.
and so different. And I'm sure like, no, it all sounded
Yeah.
like something else. But
Well, if you think about it, though, just music in general, blues. It's very similar almost always.
Yeah.
If you listen to one
Oh,
blues
yeah.
song,
Oh,
you've
God.
heard 3 or 4.
Yeah,
You
and
know what I'm
that
saying? No
wears on
offense
me.
to blues, because I
No,
love
no,
that. But
I love blues, but it wears on me.
Yeah, most styles, and I teach this with my kids that I teach music to. You know, jazz has a template for us as a rhythm player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and by the way, rhythm is the foundation, because you cannot have melody without rhythm, but you can
Right.
have rhythm without melody. So rhythm is like the total number one foundation of all music, I feel like, and we talk about this often. But like jazz has that kind of feel
Right.
to it. You can get progressive and get crazy with it later on, but all the most generalizing, you know, I'm just generalizing, but most musical styles have a certain thing, like a bossa nova. You're never going to hear bossa
Right.
nova that's not that same groove,
Right.
You know, so I'm just talking about rhythmically, not so much melody wise, but I feel like every style of music, whether it be electronic, which that, you know, trap category, it's like, yes, you've heard one, you heard them all.
Right.
Not saying you've heard one jazz and you know, one jazz song and you've heard them all, but
Right.
at the same time, the foundational properties and the sound and the instrumentation is generally the same in certain styles. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
today the key is to mash it all up somehow.
yes. Yeah.
And make people really respect it.
People love that. Like,
Yeah.
And and people love the unexpected too. Yeah, like
I agree.
Yeah, always keep them guessing. Like go one way, skip to another.
It's Madonna 101.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of. Yeah, keep them guessing. Do
For sure.
something crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know that when she decided she was going to burn crosses, they told her that it was going to end her career?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did.
And kiss a black man for the first time.
Oh my
I mean,
God,
she is the
yeah.
one who did it for the first time on a video.
I can't even believe that's a thing. Like it's
Well,
just
back then it was a huge
and it still is
thing.
some places,
Right. And
which
she
is
got a
so-
lot of flack for it. But guess
yeah.
what? She also gained a lot more fans
Yeah.
because of it.
Yep.
You know, yeah. And she said, "I don't care what you think. I'm going to do it anyway." And she did, and then boom, her career was like,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good.
When I was growing up, Madonna was like a big deal. Nowadays, she's gotten a little crazy. You know, I feel like
I'm not crazy about her latest stuff, but I
me
still love
either.
her. Like,
yeah, I do too.
You know,
I did love that bitch on Madonna track though.
Oh,
on
yeah, bitch. Yeah,
Madonna.
fuck yeah, that's good stuff, yeah.
Wow. We're donating more money to charity. So if you don't know, if you're just tuning in, we have a swear jar here, and we cuss for calls here at the Walrus because we are streaming. We bypass FCC regulations. So anytime we cuss, we put money in a tip jar, and then at the
Yay.
end of the month, we donate it to a charity. So we cuss for a good cause.
That is a good
So nobody
cause.
can get mad at us.
Nobody's allowed.
Yeah.
We're doing good things
Yeah.
for you.
So, Carly Johnson, I'm so excited you're up in my studios today. We're going to take
Me
a short
too.
break. And you talked about Get a Grip earlier. Because
yes.
that was one of my favorite records, too. I was a huge Aerosmith fan growing up.
Oh my God.
Obviously,
I just saw him in Vegas.
you did?
It was so
I've never
good.
seen Aerosmith live. They're one of the only
he
bands.
still sounds incredible.
Does
His
he?
voice is like serious.
Yeah, see, I would go for Joey Kramer because Joey Kramer, his drumming was just awesome. Some of the
Right.
parts that he comes up with are so fun to play. I had to cover Dude Looks Like a Lady. I've taught Dream On for years.
Yeah.
There's, certain songs that kids always want to learn.
Yeah.
Walk This Way is a very famous drum intro that Joey Kramer wrote. So people still try to learn it today. It's very simple. The one with Run DMC. You know?
Right.
Yeah, the crossover, mashover. And they were, I always talk about this too before we take the break, and I'm going to spin the Aerosmith track. But, we always talk about like famous things. I just totally lost my train of thought. It doesn't matter because we're
No.
going to play Eat the Rich. That's my favorite, one of my
Yes.
favorite
Oh,
tracks
so
by
good.
them.
So good.
Yeah, it's Eat the Rich. You're locked on to Generation Nation, LRS102.com. The Cure with Friday, I'm in love. You're locked on to Generation Nation, LRS102.com, The Walrus, Louisville's Rock Stream, broadcasting live from Launch Louisville Studios with Miss Carly Johnson. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, girl. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. I love that you're up in here and I'm getting to know you a little bit better. And talk.
Yeah.
It was funny because I have to tell this story. When I sent you a message, said, be like, dude, I'd love to interview you about your music career and your music. And you were like, yeah, we met before. We played a gig at Collegiate. And I went, what? We did? And I was like, wow. I started questioning myself because after I hit 40, it seems like my brain just does not retain anything.
I was
It's
impressed
scary.
that I remembered. So
Yeah. I was like, I played Collegiate, and then you were saying Austin Clark, and I kind of had like visual flashbacks of something. What was the song you said we did?
we did some Coldplay song. It was a hit. It wasn't
Yeah.
Yellow.
It
but
wasn't
it
Yellow,
was
yeah.
something later. I don't remember.
Yeah, is Yellow? No, I'm thinking Clocks. The
no, was
dee-da,
it
da
Clocks?
dee-da, da dee-da, dee-da, da dee. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that
wasn't
one.
that
But
one either?
I love that one because of the rhythmic
definitely a hit.
structure of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
in
really cool.
3-3-2. Yeah. So, which is still 8-8 if anybody else is counting.
Austin, if you're listening, call us.
Yeah, we would love for Austin to listen and call. Yeah, call me on my cell phone, Austin. Somebody stole the station line. We had a station
Rude.
cell. Yeah,
Rude.
that was here. So, Carly, I want to talk a little bit about your last EP, your demo, or is that
Yeah.
your demo, or what is
It's my
that?
EP.
Okay.
So my first full length album's going to come out this spring.
Cool.
Super excited. Yeah.
Yay.
So that was kind of like a teaser. Those
Yeah.
songs will be on the new record, but there'll be like 12 songs in total.
Okay, and on the
new
EP,
one.
how many is on
There's
there?
5.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Right. Is
so-
that normal? I guess EPs are always 5.
I don't know. Apparently, technically speaking, they're supposed to be between 3 and 5
Okay.
to qualify for EP status.
Okay, I didn't know.
So I was like, well, I'm going to do 5.
You know what's funny? I have probably, I mean, I would guess, I'm just guessing, 20 records probably with bands. I've produced the last 3. I'm producing the one currently. Have recorded with other artists on a ton of things. You know, I just did this awesome Americana record out of Nashville that's coming out too with
Sweet.
Lori Jo Bridges, and that's some of my best drumming work, hands down, was at Dolly Parton's personal recording studio. Here's Dolly again.
Sweet.
Yeah, Ken Parks her producer had the whole basement rented out while I was there, and in my bedroom that I had to spend the night in underneath the studio was her handwritten charts and her handwritten lyrics and gold records all the way down the hallway. And I was like, this is crazy.
You have to meet her.
I know. I
It's
feel like
ridiculous.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like I should.
Do it.
Even yesterday, Freakbase called in and randomly asked me if I'd ever been to Dollywood, and I was like, "Of course I've been to Dollywood."
I've memorized it, the map. I've tattooed it on my back.
Yeah, but you know, doing
It'll probably just happen naturally.
Yeah.
I bet you'll just meet her.
probably.
Yeah.
I hope so, because I mean, she's not getting any younger. Let's face it, but she's taking very good care of herself.
She looked good.
She does look good. Yeah, I had a crush on her.
I mean,
Wow.
we all do.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just like magnetic. You just
Yeah.
want to be around her.
Yeah.
But she makes me happy. If there's ever a day that I am super crazy sad and I just feel like I can't get out of bed, I'm depressed, I can literally put on a Dolly Parton record and it changes my mood
Everything.
instantly.
Yeah.
It's a mood. She's a game changer
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite Dolly tune is "Here You Come Again."
I love that one.
My favorite. It's the
Oh,
sweetest.
man, it's hard for me to pick a fave.
Oh.
Two Doors Down, I really love.
Okay.
Gosh, there's just too many. Here You Come Again. I actually got to play in the theater production of Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a super fun one. Literally, though, when you get the scores, it's all handwritten, and it's just, they were like, yeah, just make up your own parts.
Yeah.
For real. But that's a great stage play, too.
Cool.
Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Cool.
Also, most of the music from that, Sneaking Around, and the opening, A Little Bitty Pissant Country Place is like some of my all-time favorites, too.
Awesome.
And Hard Candy Christmas. I can't get enough of that one. It's so sad, but I love
I
that
haven't
one.
heard that.
Hard Candy
No,
Christmas.
I honestly I need to explore Dolly more.
It's her. Most of the stuff that I really love is Dolly Parton's Christmas stuff
Okay.
because she did a country Christmas record with Kenny Rogers that is. It just signifies Christmas to me because
Right.
I've listened to it every Christmas since I was a kid.
Right.
Hard Candy Christmas was a song that she wrote that they actually put in the movie version of Best Little Whorehouse in Texas because it was a stage play, but it was missing a lot of stuff. And if you don't know anything about that, that's based on a true story of one of the oldest whorehouses known to mankind. The Texas A&M football team would frequent there.
Oh, wow.
And it's based off of a true story about the shack that Miss Mona ran. You know, she was Miss Mona, Dolly Parton being the main mistress of all the girls, right? And it's a true story. And anyway, they went on to do that it was a theater play that they made into a movie. She thought some stuff was missing. Hey man, there's a dude in a Nirvana shirt that just gave us peace signs in the
Yes.
window on Broadway. Hey.
Awesome.
But yeah, she went on to write Hard Candy Christmas as a closing song to add. She thought some stuff was missing. So in the movie version, she wrote Sneaking Around, which is her duet with Burt Reynolds, the sheriff, and then Hard Candy Christmas finishes out the show. So you've got to see that because it's, man, talk about sad. It's all sad because they come in, they shut down the whorehouse, and she's writing this sad song about, maybe I'll do this now and maybe I'll do that now, and it's going to be a Hard Candy Christmas. I'm not going to be around you anymore kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah, it's a
right, right.
heart-wrenching,
Damn.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
definitely check that one
I
out.
will.
It's
I will
very
for sure.
famous in the Dolly world.
Yeah, it's a great title.
It
That's enough
is.
to pique my interest.
Yeah, Hard Candy Christmas. And
Yeah.
then I was telling you about Dump the Dude earlier. It's another great one. She had this album that she did with Smokey Robinson called Rainbow.
Okay.
And this is one of the first records I remember just drooling over because I was about that age where I was
Right.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
what is this? She's laid out on the side. It's the 80s Dolly years, where she kind of got real cheesy pop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's got a big rainbow across her. And then you open it up, and the first song on it was called Dump the Dude, which supposedly she wrote for one of her girlfriends about, you need to get rid of this dude.
Yes.
Yeah. it's a
Listen to Dolly, everyone.
yeah, every day.
Dolly knows best.
Yes, she does. I agree with you. So when it goes down, well, let's get back to your record. The 5 EP songs, right?
Yeah.
Are going to be
Demons. Yeah, and that'll be a part of my first full-length record.
Yay,
coming out this spring,
congrats.
which will be called Pink and Gold.
I love that.
Because it's how I feel when
Pink and Gold.
when I like play those songs, when I wrote the songs. It's just like it's a big celebration of like finally having my own music and having played like a huge hand in it. And
I'm gonna give you a hand myself.
It's so, as a woman, it is so frustrating to play new music and people just assume that you didn't write it.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and it just drives me crazy. But it's like, no, I wrote these songs, and I wrote them with another woman named Charlotte Littlehales that I went to college with in Philly. She's awesome singer-songwriter.
Cool.
And we collaborated and had a great time.
Yeah, well, maybe when it comes out, you'll come back on our show.
Yeah.
And give us some copies.
I will do that. I would love to do that.
We can drop it on LRS.
Yeah, drop
as
it
well.
all the time.
Yeah,
Please.
I
Yes,
sure
yes,
will.
yes.
I
Yeah.
sure will. Just for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I love to write my own stuff. I talk about this a lot. I want to talk to you about your writing process because I have done a lot of writing in the day and a lot of collabing, and I'm just now starting to really write by myself.
Yeah.
But I'm a hook girl, first and foremost.
That's me too.
I always have been.
Yep.
I generally write from, obviously I play percussion and drums. So usually when I write to a rhythm in my head and not to a specific melody.
Okay.
And then I'm that weirdo that might be out in the backyard like recording crickets to put in some loop somewhere. You know, I just like weird stuff. Always have. But I have taken classes where they would give you prompts, like their songwriting classes, where they might be like, you know, today you have to write a song about using a GPS, and it must involve, you know, F sharp in it, or the melody line must. They'll give you some kind of musical prompt and some kind of writing prompt, and then they'll give you like 2 weeks to produce something, and then you all send in what you've got, and then you can listen to what everybody else come up with. So it was like to make you write, basically. And since you had to do that, like that made me, you know, go outside my box. I feel like you can't get better at songwriting unless you just keep doing it. It's just like music and everything else in life. But I usually don't have an idea. I'm just taking from everything that goes on in my daily life, and my personal life usually is what I write about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a hard time writing when I'm happy. In fact,
I totally understand that.
Yeah. Well, I've got a goal. A friend of mine dared me. He said, I want you to write a happy song by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to try, but it's probably not going to happen.
It'll have a sad undertone.
Yeah. Because every song I've ever written is about like killing off the girl, or, I mean, you know, I've written other things, but like, you know, or collabed with songs about just, you know, me and Bev would really have fun. We wrote a song about big ass diamond rings and, you know, drop a trailer on them. I mean, that was totally influenced by dropping it. We were talking about, you know, we were all sad because all these girls had broken our hearts, and we're like, well, what could we do? Well, we could drop a house on them like the Wizard of Oz did on the witch, but we're hillbilly swagger, so we would drop trailers on people. And that's what that was influenced by.
Much easier
to
drop a trailer on someone too, I think.
And it hooks
it's
up.
Doable.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
House is a bit much.
A house, all over some damn shoes too. You know what I mean? It's just.
I mean, it always comes down to the shoes.
It does. It does. Yeah. So anyway, I want to talk about the writing process. Like when you write, what do you do? How do you pull from inspiration? You know, or where do you start with when you start writing?
Well, usually for me, I have a theme. Like I know what I want a song to be about, but as far as how it actually comes to fruition, of how it sounds, like literally, I don't know what I would do without like iPhone memos. Yeah. But like all I do is I just literally an idea pops in my head. I'll get a melody for, usually it'll be a bridge or a chorus. Yeah. And I'll just run to the piano really quick and I'll lay it down. And what I would do is I'd made note of this. Like anytime I got an idea, I would just, you know, quick record it before I lose it, because you know how it is. It goes like that. Like, it's gone in seconds. And
if I don't write stuff down, I do not retain.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And so I would, you know, I'd get something down on the keys and I'd sing a little bit along with it, and then I would take it. Actually, got to write this record for the most part in San Diego because my friend lives there. That Charlotte Littlehales, and I would go to her and I'd be like, all right, this is what I have for a chorus. I hate writing verses. Like I just, the melodies just don't come to me as easily. less of the hook part, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, can you write a verse to this? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I can write the lyrics to it too, but just, get this down. And we were so good about going back and forth. And sometimes I would do the verse and she would do the chorus, but generally I would come in with a hook and we'd kind of do it that way. But I don't know. It's like when you get someone that you connect with like that, like we were just like, we were right there.
Man, that was me and Bev. We had
that.
that magical spark from the moment we met, not only in friendship, but we're like soulmates without sleeping together. We really were. I mean, I could look at her on stage and she could just know exactly what I was thinking and vice versa.
Right.
And we just did the duo thing for a long time because she played piano was her main instrument, but guitar was her second instrument.
Yeah.
Well, I consider her voice her first instrument because she had such an amazing voice. But,
totally.
But she was that diverse. And when I met her, I was like, dude, you can rap. She had put out 6 records in the blues market, right? And I was like, dude, we need to produce you a record that shows off all your talents because you do every style of music. And I kept saying, I teach these kids on a daily basis, and I've taught, 20 to 30 kids a week for 12 years now. And I ask them, what is it you like to listen to every time I go in to start teaching?
Right.
And they tell me about the music styles that they listen to. Kids today are all across the board. They know who the Beatles are. They know who the Rolling Stones are.
Yeah.
They know like
Thank
40s
God.
French music. I'm like,
What?
stuff I've never heard of. They're
That's
very
so good to hear.
diverse. Well, and you know what I credit it to is because they have YouTube. They can go to YouTube now and look up,
Right.
the Beatles, Yellow Submarine, and watch the whole thing. It's crazy how diverse they are. So I kept telling her, don't listen to your management who wants you to keep putting out these blues records because I had toured in the blues market. I had done 170 shows with Freekbass and Kelly Ritchie across the United States and Canada in 2013. And I was like, I've played all these blues markets and they show up. No offense to the blues people. I love blues music. I make a lot of money playing blues music. All right. And I always have, but blues to me, it's like an older crowd, and the older crowd will come out and they'll pull up their lawn chairs. Nothing wrong with that, but they'll pull up their lawn chairs and sit down and watch you. And they're still one of the only markets I feel like that's physically buying CDs today.
Right.
But that's not going to be around for much longer. It is an art form just like jazz, and it will always have its place here in town. Stevie Ray's, you can go every night and see a blues artist,
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, I think because she was LGBTQ AI plus, like me, I was like, I want to do like club music with you, music that you would hear in an LGBT, setting. Yeah.
AI plus, educate
AI plus,
me.
yeah. I had a guy in here to educate me. I'm playing Louisville Pride, which I think you played last year. Yeah, I saw you.
Good.
I played last year too.
I love them for having me. It was so special. I loved it. It was awesome.
Did you meet Omika?
I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
Omika is my best friend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's on the board of the Louisville Pride Committee.
Cool.
Most of the people in the Louisville Pride Foundation and the Kentucky Pride Foundation are great friends of mine because I've been in this scene for like 22 years.
Yeah.
I was sneaking into Connection on a fake ID when I was like 16.
Yeah,
and I'm 40 now, so that was always my scene. But yes, so AI plus either stands for asexual or allies.
Okay.
All right. And then the I stands for intersex, which is someone, it's based more on biological, more so than how you feel.
Okay.
Also can be someone with no parts. There actually can be people who are born with no parts.
Okay.
Yeah. So he educated me on that. And then they just added a plus to try to include everybody else so they can stop doing letters.
That's nice.
Because I'm like, there's a lot of letters.
There are.
Yeah. And some of us like me can't keep up with all of them, or understand. A lot of people don't understand why the Q is in there. Because the Q should, already be covered.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm always like, I'm not
the
for
plus
sure.
could kind of take over for the Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or plus could be kind of non-binary kind of thing. Because I more identify with non-binary. I do not. Everybody's like, oh, you're lesbian. I'm like, yeah, whatever you call me.
Yeah, whatever you want.
I've always felt like I was a straight man trapped in a female body. And I was never, ever... Like, I was always confused about my gender.
Right.
I would look in the mirror and be so confused that I had boobs.
Yeah.
I really would.
But not enough to, like, where you're just used to it and you don't want to change it?
I might change it, but if I did, it would probably be top surgery.
Right,
Obviously.
right.
I don't know. I don't know if I really want to change. I do feel like God blessed me with, many awesome things. And I
Right.
am a very spiritual person who believes in a higher power. And I do believe that I don't care what anybody else does with their body.
Right,
but I'm
right.
like, I don't know. If I had my choice, I would probably have the surgery. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm still timid to do that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But everybody's always like, oh, you're a lesbian. And I'm like, well, okay, whatever you want to label
Whatever
me
makes
as.
you feel comfortable.
Right.
It's not about me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, we got phone calls coming in from North Carolina. Oh, I hope they're safe. Because Dorian just slammed the North Carolina coast. But I think he slowed down.
Thank God I think it was a 2 at this point and
Yeah.
not a 5, which is
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah, I
So,
hear you. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. So, we're thankful for that. But so the LGBTQ AI plus community has always been my community. But we went on to do a record that focused more on club dance music, and we were hooking everything from Phil Collins to we hooked I'll Fly Away, the gospel track. We hooked some Hillbilly Swagger, We hooked some Hee Haw, one of the skits that they do. We hooked that.
Yeah.
We just were taking everything Marvin Gaye to Sylvester, 70s disco stuff, and just playing stuff that we loved, and hooking around it.
Yeah.
So we had so much fun. When you find a writing partner like that,
It's just golden.
It is golden.
And it's, the recording process itself. I don't know if you feel this way, but like to me, that's like, I get so stressed out. I don't enjoy recording. I love singing live, but recording, I just lose my mind because I'm just like, it's all about making it perfect. Whereas live, you have like just this one moment and what happens. The pressure to me of being able to go back over and do it over and over again and make it perfect really actually stresses me out. I don't like it. It doesn't feel organic. It just doesn't. It's not right.
I get that. And
so, like, for me, like, the most satisfying part of this whole process, other than obviously playing the tracks live, was just we had such an incredible time writing. It was so... It was
the writing
so wonderful.
process is always the most fun, in my opinion.
It was so great, yeah.
You can brainstorm. By the way, the way that you write is very Dixie Chicky, because I don't know if you know anything about the way they write. The Dixie Chicks, they always talk about, they have one main topic, like, okay, we want to write about, abuse with women.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, okay, now what can we talk about? And they'll branch it off from there into a cloud, like when they literally physically write it out on a smartboard.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we want to talk about dude hits a girl. We want to talk about, the girls don't like that. We want to talk about, hey, we want to kill him, and then they'll branch it off. And then they literally write that way. They go back and they want the whole song to have one main theme.
Yeah.
And then they brainstorm on, okay, well, what can we talk about concerning that?
For sure.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and sometimes I write as I produce even.
Yeah, no, I did that with like some of the string parts that you'll get to hear in the full record.
Cool.
No string parts out yet, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I told you what I was doing before you got here? Yeah, there was a cello player down here, and I was recording the cello player upstairs for...
Oh, that was here. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Right before you got here, I was upstairs where, by the way, you're in an old Guild Theater building, if you don't know anything about this building.
I don't, but when I walked in, I was like, it definitely feels like a theater.
Pink Floyd played here, the Black Sabbath, B.B. King, Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead, everybody you can imagine has played here. And
is there still like a theater space back there?
I'm gonna take you up and show it to you later.
Are they gonna do anything there?
They're trying to renovate it.
They should.
But I took her up there and I said, I want to record these strings part right here in this theater because it's too historic, and we could do it out here or in here, but I was like, no, let's go to the theater and record strings. So she was recording a creepy "Here Comes the Bride" for me, and we were talking about she also gave me like sections of Psycho, the chunks from Psycho, and the intro for Jaws, like stuff like that, so I can go back and use it for an intro to something.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, gotta love the strings, gotta love all that. Gotta like writing. Some people write entire songs, lyrically. Which some days, every now and a blue moon, I'll just like wake up out of a sleep, and I literally start typing, and my fingers are so fast, I don't even know what's coming out. Really. Yeah. It'll be like a bunch of just blah. It's like I threw up on paper. A bunch of stuff, and then I'll wait and go back like a couple weeks later and go, holy crap, that's really good. Like I don't know where that came from, but okay. let's structure it and make it into something.
Yeah, I love recording it in the moment and then going back to it like a month later because you look at it differently.
Yeah.
It becomes something else, which I think is helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm usually always writing from heartbreak. Almost always. And I hate that. But because this new record is more like, which I've named Herstory. Instead of history, it's going to be Herstory.
Love that.
Uh-huh. I love a word twist. Before Hillbilly Swagger dropped a trailer on him, there was Welcome to the Queendom by Femtronica. That was the duo I did with a Juilliard vocal music grad. She'd studied opera, but she wanted to do hip hop. And I said, that's right up my alley. I love anything outside the box that's different.
Cool.
So I set her up with a recording studio in Arkansas, and then I recorded my tracks here, and we met in L.A., and like half of it was recorded here, half was recorded in L.A., and half was recorded in Arkansas. And sometimes we were only in the room together for like 2 weeks at a time.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would find grooves that I really dug. We would write together and bounce ideas back and forth in different states. And then she would record piano tracks or whatever kind of tracks or vocal stuff and send it to me. And then I would take it and like arrange it. And some days she would just send me stuff and be like, I cannot believe you made a whole track out of that. Like, it's mind-blowing. And I was just like, I don't know. I'm just like a mad scientist when it comes to editing and production stuff. I always have been.
That's cool.
I work very ADD and all over the place.
Wow.
But eventually it comes together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wish you luck on your, your debut record, because I'm a big fan of the artist and being an artist, not just being a cover band person.
Right.
Which always encourage anybody to play, because you can always learn from anything you do in music.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a big fan of artistry and writing and putting yourself out there, because I do believe, and I've been shown, especially in the past year when I've lost two of my friends who are great writers, that when you pass on, people still hang on to that music.
Yeah.
And they still go back, and nowadays with YouTube and all the other formats we have, Spotify and everything else going on, with the internet, they can go back and access that stuff. And they will. And they'll continue to share your stuff. And I feel like they might do the same with cover stuff, but probably not. Like live videos, yeah, maybe. But I don't, as far as establishing yourself as an artist, I feel like you have to write your own stuff, or you have to get with someone who can write stuff for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally
To progress.
agree. Yeah.
And again, it's all about the collab.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
is
if Dolly
true.
Parton called you up and was like, I want to collab with you,
Then I'd faint.
Yeah, right. Well, I hope
first
that
I'd
happens
call
for
you,
you one day.
and
Please
then I'd
do.
faint. And I'd be like,
Please
well, I
call
have
me.
a drummer.
Thank you. I'm like, I'm going to pay her on the side for doing that. And then we're going to take it and spin it on both of our radio shows.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's the power of radio, and that's why I
100%.
love it. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard Bougie. That's the last one I dropped off the
No.
because I'm kind of like you. I've already dropped about 4, but I dropped them as singles, not as an EP.
Because that's the thing now.
Yeah, it is.
I should have done that.
Yeah, well, you can still do that. Still, even
I'm
going
to
to
tease with
yeah.
singles that I haven't released yet in this record leading up to our release.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
yeah. And one of them, the first
Sweet.
one I'm dropping, will be a collaboration with Will Oldham. It's a duet
I love him.
song that I wrote for him and I did
Yeah,
sing.
I love that. I want to
Yeah.
get him up in the studios because he's really cool.
Yeah, he is cool.
Yeah, and he's another really, I consider him a true artist.
Oh,
you
for
know
sure,
what I mean,
yeah.
around town. So Bougie is a track that I dropped last year on my birthday, which is coming up in a couple weeks. It always happens for Highlands Pride.
Yeah, perfect.
It's always, I like to pretend like
It's your
threw
birthday
that for
party.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly it is. And I'm usually playing on stage. This year I'm playing 2 gigs.
I love it.
Yeah, with a Broadway superstar. You would love that. Her name is LaVon Fisher-Wilson, the Queens of Funk and Soul.
Sweet.
She was in The Color Purple on Broadway with Todd Ricall, who's headlining the thing, and Fantasia. She
So
was
good.
Big Mama
Oh my
Thornton
God,
in Chicago.
Fantasia, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this girl, and she's from Louisville. She has
Fantasia's from Louisville?
no.
Okay.
LaVon Fisher-Wilson,
Okay, got it.
who I'm playing with. She runs the Queens of Funk and Soul here in Louisville.
Gotcha.
She's also a big Broadway star. She's been in The Color Purple. She
Okay.
played Big Mama Thornton in Chicago.
Wow.
And she met Todd Ricall up there doing work for her. Anyway, we're doing a show at the Highlands Pride with my all-girl band. That's what she said from She Castle.
Awesome.
And Jimmy Brown is going to join me on bass,
Sweet.
who owned Guitar Emporium for
Wow.
years. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that, and then also at the other end, we're going to do the Kentucky Beatniks, which is my acoustic duo with Nick Payne.
Cool.
We do hip hop.
Awesome.
Yeah, electronic meets acoustic. It's really wacky.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm rapping and playing drums on that. But where was I going with this? Bougie. Yeah, I dropped that last year, and the idea was I'd been heartbroken by a girl, and I was just so frustrated. I got a breakup text, and that kind of set me off, and I never saw her again. And this was someone I'd known for 20 years, so it was really kind of painstakingly for me, and I kept it quiet for a long time. But in order for me to make music, I feel like I use my music as mental therapy, and I use it to get closure from things in my daily life that I can't get closure from,
Right.
So I wrote a diss track to her, and she would always get drunk and get in this loop of saying, I'm not bougie, I'm not bougie. Meanwhile, I would go with her twice a week to like get her nails did and get her hair done, and she had fake boobs and the eyes were fake. It was like extensions in the hair, nails all the time getting so I just was laughing at it. Meanwhile, I was spending like $200 a meal, and I was like, but you are kind of bougie. She was trying to convince herself that she wasn't bougie.
Right.
So I basically took that as a hook. I'm not bougie. She'd say, I'm not bougie. I'm not bougie.
Nice. Yeah.
And I just kind of ripped on it. So then after I wrote the track, I was like, what can I do? And you'll love this, because here's where Micah and the gay guys come in, because they're always my sounding board about what I want to do in the video, because I like to do videos with my singles. And I said, what can I do to make people's jaws drop? Like, I want to make them just drop. And they're like, well, you could play your own femme girl, because you're never femme.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I went back and forth about, where can I get a dress? I don't own a dress. So I come home, and I asked my roomie, I was like, I wish I had a dress. And she goes, I've got a dress. I've got a wedding dress.
Ooh.
And I went, she goes, try it on just for fun. And it fit perfect. So I went on to do the video. Hair, makeup, everything did, looking all glam. I'm even in a mini skirt with thigh-high red velvet boots, black sequins, tight dress.
How did that feel? Did you like doing it, or was it weird?
I was a fish out of water.
Totally out of your
In fact, everybody in the production team was like rolling behind the scenes. They could not take me seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I could not walk in heels.
Yeah.
I had a wedding dress on. I'm all acted, and they were like, I can't even believe that's you. Sean Wallace was in here from Soul Circus. He saw it, and he did not believe that the girl was me. He was like, that is not you. I was like, it is me. That is me.
I need to see this immediately.
And then I also put, I'll send it to you. I also put a Derby City sister up in it, the one who is getting all the controversy about the public library stuff.
Oh, I don't know about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, we won't get into politics,
okay.
Do you know who the Derby City sisters are? They're a set of drag queens around here, and they're actually found in every city. So Louisville has a big hub of them. You'll see them. They dress in derby hats and outfits, and it's drag queen, and they go out to like public events.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to know about them.
Yeah, I feel like I do.
One of my friends, well, I've got a lot of friends who are Derby City sisters is what they call them, and they literally go in like gangs of 20. They'll frequent bars, they'll frequent events, they'll just show up and look fabulous in their outfits and drag makeup, and
Right.
Louisville loves some drag, man.
Yeah. Oh, I love
and we have some of the best ones here. Jay Jolie just did that record was in the video with Taylor Swift.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. You saw John Travolta handed our Jay Jolie from Louisville, who impersonates Taylor Swift, handed her the VMA thinking it was Taylor Swift, and it wasn't. It was the drag queen impersonator.
Fucking
oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
More money for charity. Yeah. Jay Julie. So I'm trying to land that interview.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's just so funny.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah. So if you watch the Taylor Swift video, the one on marriage equality and gay and being equal rights and stuff like that, the one she just won the big VMA for, that's our Jay Jolie in there. RuPaul's in there. Todd Ricall's in there. I mean, there's a lot in there. But awesome. Go Louisville.
Yes.
Go Jay Jolie.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, you got to love art and music, man. I mean, you can just do anything. That's why I love to write. I was like, can you imagine if Bob Marley wrote "I Shot the Sheriff Today"? I mean, we would be like, what?
No.
Can you imagine, and the Dixie Chicks, another great example. They got a lot of flack for killing off Earl in the back of the car. But it was for a good reason.
Yeah, it really was.
And all of us girls were like,
Goodbye, Earl.
yes, goodbye, Earl. And I still want one of those Earls in my trunk stickers. I love that.
Yes.
I was always a huge Dixie Chick fan.
I was too.
They've got a new record coming out too.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
It's been a while, yeah. I'd love to
I
hear
think
that.
2020 year of the female man. I mean, we're
Sweet,
already.
That's when I'm releasing
Yeah,
mine.
exactly.
This is perfect.
And it'll probably be at least 2020 before I get there too. But
Cool.
I keep thinking 2020 vision, man. 2020
Yes,
vision. Like
I
it's
love
going to be a
that.
good year.
That's
yeah.
so awesome.
But yeah, if you want to write a song and Guns N' Roses killed a girl and put her in their backyard, it's just,
Man.
that's what it is.
Yep.
You can write anything. And I feel like if kids today had that outlet, that artistic outlet to, if they're frustrated at schools, to come home and write a track about somebody they don't like, instead of going out and buying a gun, we'd probably have a much better world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, anyway, what's your favorite part of music? You've said already you love to perform live. Right?
I love performing.
Yeah, what are you doing right now live? Because you've got a lot of different projects going on, right, with that?
I mean,
Didn't you do?
I'm
Well,
so
wait.
lucky. What?
Hang on.
What?
Congratulations, because I saw the Nancy Wilson thing. Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So like I said earlier, I discovered Heart in high school briefly. And then I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, women sing like this?
Man,
This is
they're
incredible.
Amazing.
So I became totally engrossed with them and, went to school for jazz because that was the closest thing to what I wanted to do, which I ended up studying classical and jazz there because they were kind of doing both at the time. Came back here and I figured the fastest, easiest way to make money doing music would be to sing jazz around town. And I also fell in love with jazz, so that was really cool. But meanwhile, I was like, I gotta find a way to do something with Heart. And I don't like the whole cover band thing or whatever.
Right.
But I was like, what would be a good excuse to just do this every now and then, not like as a wedding band or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just not my thing. And so I started I Heart Heart, which is a tribute band to Heart. And every time we play, it's for charity, with the exception of us doing it at Iroquois. That was like an experiment.
I saw that, by the way. That, I just played with Kimmett, and I love her too.
She's so good.
I know.
And she's so sweet.
I kind of have a little crush. I always
don't blame
have.
you.
I mean, everybody does,
hot
don't
stuff.
they?
Yeah.
I know. We used to work beside each other at Mom's for like 10 years.
Oh, cool.
And I would see her every day, but we never worked together.
Yeah.
Until, do you remember the Queens of Pop thing that you were saying that you did?
Yep.
Or what were you? Queens of Soul?
Queens of Soul.
Queens of Soul. Yeah. So when I did the Queens of Pop, Kimmett was singing. By the way, you'll love this. It includes J. Jolie. You've been on a stage with the chick and Taylor Swift, and you don't even know it.
She did.
The
what
drag.
Fleetwood song did she do?
No, she did Alanis Morissette. You ought to know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
right.
and I was on drums, and Kimmett was in the green room singing live while J. Jolie was out front lip syncing.
I thought she did that for a Stevie tune, but she was out front for the.
She may have done
tune.
another. I don't know. Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe I have it wrong. Maybe she did do. Oh, Dreams.
Yes, it was Dreams.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then Kimmett later on came up and did Alanis.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, but either way, J. Jolie was the drag queen on that.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
the one
That's
in the
awesome.
Taylor Swift video.
Cool.
So yeah. Anyway, I love Kimmett, and that I saw a video of that. Of course, Ray Rizzo was just in here.
Yep.
So was Bob Ramsey. So we've had. And by the way, Natalie Patron Feltner.
I love her.
I love her too. Yes.
Yeah, she's great.
I know this community is so awesome, isn't it?
Awesome.
We're blessed here in Louisville to have a super amazing community
scene of musicians.
Yeah, exactly.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, so you did the I Heart Heart thing.
I did the I Heart Heart thing, and my signature tunes on that are usually Barracuda, Crazy on You, and Alone.
Awesome.
And so one of my friends happened to just take this perfect clip of me doing Alone at that part when like it breaks down to the guitar solo, but then she like comes in and she's like wailing that really high note. So there's a good like 40 second clip of it. And so I was like, oh, perfect. So I posted it on Instagram and I was like, oh, this was so much fun, whatever. And then like I never, like, I don't check things consistently.
Yeah.
And so I waited a day or so and I went and I looked back and then I'm looking at the comments and Nancy fucking Wilson.
Wow.
She commented with
Yes.
3 emojis. I got the claps. I got the rock on hands and I
Right
got
on.
the heart exclamation point.
I love that. That's so
And
badass.
I died. Like
Yeah.
I lost my voice screaming. I was so excited.
I bet. Did you run around the house a few times?
I did many times. Yeah.
Wow.
And she liked it. And then I made a comment and I was like, girl, if you ever need backups, I will try not to pass out in front of you and Anne. And I would love to do it. And then she liked that. But she hadn't she had said that like 14 hours earlier, and I just missed it.
Yeah. Still, though, I guarantee she'll see it.
Oh, man. Yeah.
We're like 1 degree away from celebs. That's why, honestly, we were talking about Twitter earlier. Twitter is more of a celebrity type thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's super rad. They love that for some reason. And I've noticed now Instagram kind of the same way.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's nuts who can see something. You're like, oh, my gosh, they're following me,
Yeah, yeah.
I've had one moment like that in my life. That was from this book right here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you. So I got asked to be a part of,
sweet.
I got asked to, just some lady contacted me online and was like, hey, I'm writing this book on women drum set players. Love your stuff. I see you work with autistic kids, all this stuff.
That's so
and
cool.
she goes, I think you're a really great drummer. Would you mind to answer 20 questions for me for this biography thing? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
So I answered her questions. I sent in a picture. Didn't think anything else about it. And she said the book's going to be coming out in April. Mm-hmm. And so this was like 2014. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I follow Sheila E., who's like a hero. She was a hero of mine. And I was like, and Cindy Blackman Santana. And I saw Cindy Blackman Santana post that she had just done this interview for this book that was going to be coming out in April on women drum set players. And I was like, that's weird. I wonder, mine's coming out. Surely not, And then I saw Sheila E. post this. All right?
Oh, my God.
On her Facebook. So I was like, oh, my God, that's me. I didn't even know I got chose for the cover. But this is me on the cover.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
No, this is me on the cover with Viola Smith, who drummed for Frank Sinatra, one of the oldest female known to. She'll be 107 this year and is still drumming.
That's incredible.
Sheila E., Cindy Blackman Santana, who drummed for Lenny Kravitz, who is also married to Santana. Allison Miller, who's a great jazz drummer, who's a great friend of mine. And then you have Debbie Peters and the Bangles and Don Richardson from 4 Non Blondes on there. So everybody from Karen Carpenter to Meg White to every female drummer that you've known, from the Bangles to the Go-Go's, is up in here.
That is too cool.
And get this, it was the first book ever written on women drum set players even. So
that is too cool.
When I saw Sheila E. post that, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know it was on the cover. And I saw it and I was like, holy crap. I got up and screamed like you did, like a little girl.
Yeah.
Ran around my house. And then last year, Triangle Talent calls me. And they said, you're on a book with Sheila E. I'm sure you've met her, right? And I go, no, I haven't. I've never met Sheila E. She's like my shiro, who drummed for Prince, obviously.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they were like, well, guess what? If you show up at the Chow Wagon tonight, you're going to meet her because we got you backstage passes to meet her. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Pam Yates Pribble, shout out. Thank you so much.
Oh, my God.
So I called my girl Sue, rest in peace, Sue, who passed away recently. And I said, what are you doing tonight? Do you want to go meet Sheila E.? And she was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no. So she came home. I grabbed the book. This is not the book that I'm about to tell the story about, but we met Sheila E. And when I met her, I was trying to explain to her that this is me.
Yeah.
But I don't think she understood my country slang. And she takes the pen and autographs it right across my face.
Oh, my God.
So I've got that book with the signed copy at home.
Too good.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, that is hilarious.
But I went out to watch her show. She was back at the Kentucky State Fair this year. Triangle Talent books her for State Fair and Chow.
Oh, that's great. That's cool.
Badass, right?
Yes.
Ding ding for Sheila E. We love girl drummers.
Yes, we fucking do.
Yeah, ding ding. So let's tell everybody about where's your next gigs. Do you have anything awesome coming up? Because you're very busy. And congrats on Forecastle as well.
Thank you. That was so fun.
That was badass.
Yeah,
I keep seeing your name just everywhere. I'm like, I got to get her in here.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my full-time job is actually singing jazz five nights a week around Louisville.
Right.
So, but with my own original music, we had a bunch going on this summer. And the next stuff coming up, we're going to be playing Nulu Fest September 28th, which is in Nulu neighborhood on, I guess, Market.
I love Nulu.
Yeah,
Nulu is the new thing in Louisville.
It is the new thing.
I love Taj. I love Please and Thank You.
Yeah.
My buddy Adam Caperton has a realty company down through there that's been trying to build that area up.
Yeah.
And they've done an awesome job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And actually, every Sunday you can catch me singing jazz in Nulu at Wiltshire on Market.
Cool.
And that's 6:30 to 9:30, so it's kind of an early thing.
Cool. I have to come out and check you out because I love jazz. I always have.
Yeah.
My favorite drummers is Tony Williams, who played with Miles Davis.
That's so cool. Yeah. So we're doing that. That'll be September 28th from 5:30 to 6:30. And then I'm actually doing the opening of the new botanical gardens that are on the waterfront. That's going to be October
I love
4th.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And then we're doing like this cool, like laid back thing in Tyler Park. It's like the Olmsted Bike-In series.
Cool.
So
You got some really
that's
rad
October
gigs
19th.
coming up. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to avoid the bar scenes these days because I've
Yeah.
been working on my sobriety, and I really don't want to just keep playing cover music and beating myself up. I have a little bit of nerve damage going on in my arms.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I've been trying to just like
Good for
chill
you.
and do a couple festivals here and there, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And
And then
work on the original stuff.
That's
Go ahead.
smart. Yeah. Then we're working on getting a tour together for when we release the record in the spring.
That is super cool.
Yeah,
Who is collabing with you on all that? Because do you have collaborations on there?
like
band wise and stuff like that?
As far as like who plays on
Yeah.
the record and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a big old band.
Or plays with you live even?
Oh, both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, most of the guys that I got to play on the record, I play with live.
Yeah.
So I would say the main people are Craig Wagner on guitar.
Oh, who's awesome.
Yeah, he's a
amazing.
beast. And
I need to get him in here too.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's who I do most of my jazz gigs with too. We've been playing together like over 10 years now.
Wow.
And then I have my brother actually on bass. He plays for us, and he owns Meta, the bar downtown.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
yeah.
He's like a sommelier that plays bass.
I love that.
A cocktail bass player.
Yeah, go down there and go down to Meta, man.
Yeah, and his name's Jeremy Johnson. And then we've kind of been cycling through a few, like as far as keys and drums go. We had Mike Hyman for a long time on drums, and he's on the record.
I love Mike Hyman. I know him too.
He's incredible. He's a beast. And Price McGuffey is actually joining us for our live stuff coming up. So that'll be really
cool, man. Yeah. So congrats on all that because you got some really cool stuff going on.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Call me and remind me about the botanical gardens gig because I would love to be there for that. I'm an earth sign. I'm all about the earthy. And when I saw we were getting a botanical gardens, I was like all about it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
Louisville needs one of those.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be fun.
Is there anything that we've left out?
You can follow me.
Yeah.
At
Give
Carly
all your social
Johnson
deets.
Official. Carly Johnson Official. It's on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm on Spotify and all that good stuff. iTunes. You can find my stuff. Not hard.
Well, we want everybody to go check you out online, and we're going to take a little break here before we wrap it up.
Cool.
We're live in the LRS102.com studios with Carly Johnson, an awesome musician. Also has a radio show. You've got all kinds of music out. You've got a full solo record coming out next year in 2020.
Yeah.
Gigging all around town, doing jazz, groovy stuff. You got all kinds of stuff going on. Whoa, it's the Foo Fighters. Stay tuned. We'll be back. It's the Foo Fighters on the Walrus102.com.